Welcome to my world. I need to fart. Or not. No, never mind. Okay, welcome back. I told you I was gonna get right back into this book that I'm sharing with you by Khalil Gibran. Did a couple parts, did more in the second part. We're picking up the pace. We'll be done with it here in a second. I mean, soon enough. Of course, the language he uses is so amazing. The words he uses are fantastic, and it's the way he uses them, and what's actually being conveyed. There's something that I would have to I'll reread a couple times, 2 or 3 times, slowly, just to really grasp this new perspective, this different perspective. It's not this. I say new, but this was from long ago, so it's not new. It's just been ignored for whatever reason. Anyways, I got this delicious cantaloupe here. Let's get into it. Oh, here's my boy. Boom. It's a handsome feller. A better picture. I like how he's looking down. He's looking down in a deep contemplative way, as one does when one's soul is just that magnificent. Of course, I'm sure he had his goofball moments too. You know, we're all fools and we're all sages, but not always at the same time. Sometimes. Anyway, let me share some of this sage wisdom from his writings. This mystic's inspiration. It's so inspirational to me. Anyways, okay. So the book again is called The Prophet. We're on page 19, and every couple pages he's been speaking to someone in the crowd of people that is seeing him off as his ship is about to bear him to his homeland. Someone will ask a question. They're taking turns asking about different things, and he's just dropping bombs of enlightened insight into every subject that they're asking about. And you'll understand as you listen. So one of the judges of the city, they're in Orphalese, stood forth and said, "Speak to us of crime and punishment." He answered, saying, "It is when your spirit goes wandering upon the wind that you, alone and unguarded, commit a wrong unto others, and therefore unto yourself. And for that wrong committed must you knock and wait a while, unheeded at the gate of the blessed. Like the ocean is your God's self, it remains forever undefiled, and like the ether it lifts but the winged. Even like the sun is your God's self. It knows not the ways of the mole, nor seeks it the holes of the serpent. But your God self dwells not alone in your being. Much in you is still man, and much in you is not yet man. Oh, not yet. But a shapeless pygmy that walks asleep in the mist, searching for its own awakening. And of the man in you would I now speak. And of the man in you would I now speak. For it is he, not your God self, nor the pygmy in the mist, that knows crime and the punishment of crime. Oftentimes I have heard you speak of one who commits a wrong, as though he were not one of you, but a stranger unto you, and an intruder upon your world. But I say that even as the holy and the righteous cannot rise beyond the higher... But I say that even as the holy and the righteous cannot rise beyond the highest, which is in each one of you, so the wicked and the weak cannot fall lower than the lowest, which is in you also. And as a single leaf turns not yellow, but with a silent knowledge of the whole tree, so the wrongdoer cannot do wrong without the hidden will of you all. Like a procession you walk together towards your God self. You are the way and the wayfarers. And when one of you falls down, he falls for those behind him, a caution against the stumbling stone. Aye, and he falls for those ahead of him, who though faster and surer of foot, yet remove not the stumbling stone. Oh, wow. I just got that. He said, when one of you falls down, he falls for those behind him, a caution against a stumbling stone. Aye, and he falls for those ahead of him, who though faster and surer of foot, yet removed not the stumbling stone. It's like the perfect amount of like Yoda speak that, you know, it's not complicated, but it's just beautiful. Really, he takes that kind of wisdom and puts it so preciously. And this also, though the word lie heavy upon your hearts, the murderer is not accountable for his own murder. The murderer is not accountable for his own murder, and the robbed is not blameless in being robbed. Oh, I'm sorry. He said the murderer is not unaccountable for his own murder, and the robbed is not blameless in being robbed. The righteous is not innocent of the deeds of the wicked, and the white-handed is not clean in the doings of the felon. Real talk. Yea, the guilty is oftentimes the victim of the injured. Or say, yeah, the guilty is oftentimes the victim of the injured. Okay. And still more often, the condemned is the burden bearer for the guiltless and unblamed. And still more often, the condemned is the burden bearer for the guiltless and unblamed. You cannot separate the just from the unjust, the good from the wicked. For they stand together before the face of the sun, even as the black thread and white are woven together. And when the black thread breaks, the weaver shall look into the whole cloth, and he shall examine the loom also. If any of you would bring to judgment the unfaithful wife, let him also weigh the heart of her husband in scales, and measure his soul with measurements, and let him who would lash the offender look upon the spirit of the offended. And if any of you would punish in the name of righteousness, and lay the axe unto the evil tree, let him see to its roots. And verily he will find the roots of the good and the bad, the fruitful and the fruitless, all intertwined together in the silent heart of the earth. And you judges who would be just, what judgment pronounce you upon him, who though honest in the flesh, yet is a thief in the spirit? Wow. Oh my God. It's all about depth, people. It's like, there's such a huge... One of the themes with Khalil is that he just looks deeper. He doesn't stop at the surface like the world we live in does. You know, as we look at everyone's book cover, and the book cover of everything, just judging it at that surface level, knowing nothing, understanding nothing really than what is exactly on the surface, which is shallow and such a small, tiny aspect of the being of anything. What penalty lay you upon him who slays in the flesh, yet is himself slain in the spirit? Think about that. I'll tell you what that's about. I'll tell you right now. It's important. It's really important. I gotta make this point about this specifically. It's about this very thing. And it tells a little bit about my story. So when I was 18 years old, I took philosophy during the 1 year that I went to community college in Rockland, California. That's by Sacramento. It's part of Sacramento. You know what I mean? Anyways, I had this incredible professor named Johnny Terry. I reached out to him recently just to thank him for helping me to become the amazing heart and mind that I am today. The invaluable being that I've found myself to have become. And so I'm super grateful. I sent him this wonderful message. Anyway, Johnny Terry was my teacher for the 2 philosophy classes I took each semester, or one-on-one. And the first one was the introduction to philosophy. I think it was ethics, actually. Philosophy of ethics. And I learned something that is ignored. I learned something so profound that in this day and age is like so not part of a functional thought process. And then I'll explain it real quick, real simply. So what I learned, this one particular thing that I learned from Johnny almost right off the bat was that the question why one does something matters more than just what was done. And it's so critical because look at our world today. How many times do we look only and exactly at the action and the behavior or the effect of something without looking at the cause, without looking at the first part of the equation, like the whole picture? We take just the smallest little piece, judge it, crucify it, whatever, praise it, and it might not deserve praise or to be crucified. Oftentimes that is the case. That's why we say, don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge anything by its cover. Not just a book. Don't judge any person by the cover. Animal, cloud, situation. How about don't judge yourself by the cover? And by cover, I mean don't judge yourself by what everyone had told you that you were as a kid and insisted that you had to be this certain way. So much that, we accept things when we're kids. Now, we never check back on until we're on our deathbed sometimes. But so as not to waste your precious time as human beings who are miracles, each and every one of us is a miracle in motion. So as not to waste that time, you must examine yourselves. You must reflect, self-reflect. For our parents, because our parents weren't the best mirrors. And that's okay that they weren't. It's just another lesson that we get to learn, which they didn't. And that's a beautiful thing. There are no bad guys, in a sense. Or there is no evil, in a way. When you look at the bigger picture of almost every situation, because it's our tormentors, it's our bullies, our challenges, it's our difficulties, and some of the things that we hate the most that form the strengths within us and the abilities, the unseen talent. Those things sometimes bring out, expose, and cultivate the very things that end up making you fall in love with yourself, which is important. Because if you're not in love with yourself, you gotta ask yourself why. Don't stop at the action. Don't stop at the cover of, I don't love myself. Whatevs, no one else does. Ask why. Go deeper, if you know why you don't love yourself, you might have a clue, or you might have your own narrative for that you tell yourself. I did. I had a ton of narratives when I went to therapy for the first time a couple of years ago. I felt safe with her immediately, which is what you need in any situation like that. So if you don't get that feeling, if they don't give you that feeling of safety, how are they ever going to help you? Because you have to feel safe in order to tell the truth, right? In order to open up. So that's why that's so important. So safety, telling the truth, self-reflecting, and with a therapist, therapists help you see yourself. It's like self-reflection on crack. Okay, self-reflection on steroids. No, who uses steroids anymore? Just bodybuilders. Self-reflection on meth. On Adderall, same thing. That's a subject for another time. We are on the crime and punishment section of the thing. Why do we imprison and destroy so many lives, so many human, American, whoever, any nationality? Why do we destroy so many lives for the medicine for this street version, for them taking medicine in the streets that is a street version of the medicine that they sell and prescribe to millions of people. Just because it's on the street and they didn't manufacture it, now it's not medicine. Now it is like the most evil fucking thing ever. You know, meanwhile, they're like pouring tons of it into the mouths of totally legit citizens who are using it as medicine. So I'm sure you can see the insanity of that. But what's more insane is that that's been going on for a long time, and to this day, to this moment, who is challenging that? Who is voicing that, being the voice for that change? Me. I'm going to. That's why I brought it up. And not just that. There's so much. There's so many different things that we are subjected to, which is total bullshit, and we just take it up we take it where the sun don't shine. And some of us say thank you after, you know, and try to be their friends. What the fuck is up with that? Why are we such pushovers as a society and culture? Why do we not challenge anything, not get anything we want, allow ourselves to be abused on every fucking level possible, and then the taxes get raised on everything as well? And do you see us getting the guns and challenging some of these things? Absolutely not. I think maybe the fact that we have guns here in Texas, that's just for show. It's totally just for show. If we were going to use them, we would have used them already. We only use those for bullshit too. You know, just fucking posers, really. Texans, which is where I am, San Antonio. You're the best. You're the best of the best, and you don't use your power. You don't use your guns. You claim that you are the biggest and the most unique, and you are. I think you are. The closest to God in some ways, in many ways. Where is your protection? Where is your self-protection of the people, of all the other people that you care about? So it's not you today, but it's you tomorrow. But meanwhile, today, you see your friend go to prison, go to jail, go to prison, and you don't have the heart to go to bat for him, so you wait. So you wait, you say, we'll solve that problem later. I mean, that's fucked up, you know, but we'll deal with it later. It's not until you're on the chopping block that you really think, you know what? Waited too fucking long. Waited too fucking long to be a good person. To do the right thing for someone else the problem is exposed when the suffering takes place. And it's not like all these people in prison aren't voicing their horror at so much of what happens. But do we organize, and do we use our voices and have the autonomy and the dignity, the integrity to change what's wrong into what's right, to undo errors of the past that we're still making? You already know the answer, right? And the answer is no, obviously. But if we were, well, all the things that you would see, you do see happening throughout the world and throughout our society, they're a large part. They happen a large part. They only happen. They only happen because of us, because of our lack of initiative, because of our lack of a voice, and a lack of sense and love for all of our brothers and sisters. We pick and choose who is good and who's worthy and who's not worthy, and we'll care for some and ignore the rest. It's insane. We're one human species. We are one whole family. All nationalism bullshit aside, we're all one. There is no separation. And we're just talking about the human family. That's not even talking about how we're connected to the animals, the trees, the earth, everything. We are literally stardust, breathing through clay and shit. It's fucking crazy. It's a miracle. It's magic. And some of y'all are fucking bored. No, I get that. I get bored too. I get bored sometimes. But that's something to look at, right? It says something about you. It says you suck. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so the thing that I learned, I pointed out that it's the why. Asking why something happens, or why something is the way it is, or why you're doing this. That the answer is so much more important than what they do. What? Like I said, that real complicated. Why someone does something is so much more important than what they do, because it could completely exonerate the very action that they're taking. I mean, look at me right now, living in a tent in the forest. That's the action. Okay. On the surface of it, I'm homeless. Okay, I'm a drag of society, trash, and that is how I'm looked at when I walk among the circles down here. But it doesn't anywhere near tell my story. Why I'm living in a tent in a forest. Now that is juicy. It exonerates me from the judgment of being a piece of trash in society. But not only that, it adds a whole layer and badge of honor for what I'm doing and what I'm attempting, what I've set out to do in an incredible way. And you're going to get that full story very soon, because I'm going to post a video on I'm going to plead with you, humanity, to see some things and make some adjustments. I'm going to beg you with my heart and soul, naked and laid before you, metaphorically. This ain't OnlyFans, although send me a message if you think I should start one. What if I did an OnlyFans, but I just did this stuff? You know what I mean? Just transferred my brilliance and wisdom through your screens, and instead of, I imagine it's mostly porn on there. But instead of that, paying someone you are just lustfully want to look at, you could come see me, and you could grow. You could heed my insight, connect and intertwine with my understandings that I went through hell for the better part of 40 years, that I literally went through all kinds of hell to become a person that could share this, to have this value, to give to you, to share with you, to inspire you, to wake you, to tickle you, and soothe your weary, suffering, and empty hearts. Empty hearts and minds. At least that's how it feels, right? We want to feel fulfilled. We want to feel something. So why do we do what we do? Why? Why is a question? It's not asked enough. Okay. So right. So the why. Asking that about all of our choices is extremely important, because when you ask it of all of the things in society, everything. Ask why about everything, especially if you don't know. And if you were to do that, you'd uncover all the darkest secrets of our society, of the world. Because the answers, they're around. They're right there, but they're also around. They're in movies. They're in stand-up. You know what's up. In thousands of instances, what is underneath is more important, and in my mind is what needs full attention to. I said, put full attention on the why. Pull back so much obsession with the what, and put a much heavier emphasis on why. All those school shootings, all the shootings everywhere, all the fucked up shit that happens in America. If you people just asked why and dug for the answers deeper than what the media tells you to suck on, guess what? You would cry. You would be devastated if you have a heart, because you'd get the answers, and it would break your heart. And then maybe you'd use those guns in Texas for once. Maybe we'd talk to each other, and just have a common sense rally, and say, hey guys, we're all seeing this the same way right now. Let's do the right thing, because for the right reasons. And why are we doing the right thing? Why is so important? Tell your friends. It's everything, isn't it? Why matters so tremendously. Why represents our very real feeling and existential search for truth and ways to express that truth clearly to each other. I'm going to drop this. This is all tied together. So if you came here for Khalil, you're still getting Khalil. I am Khalil Gibran. I am a reincarnation of this soul. I'm the same soul. And I've identified many incredible souls throughout history who I've adored, and it's come to my awareness because I ask why this and why that. I've connected with who I am across time. Not all my past lives, but many. I claim it. I know who I am and who I was in many instances, and knowing that has only further inspired me to keep going in this life. Do what I did in those other lives. Shoot for the heavens. Because heaven on earth is our birthright. We are the caretakers of earth. We were given it a long time ago to take care of the animals and the plants and each other, the skies and the seas, as best we can. We're not perfect. And the opposite is happening. It's the opposite right now. The industry and the powers that be, we, the people, Texas included, America, everyone, America's no exception. And in fact, America's the worst in some cases of what we're talking about. But we, the people, have allowed, have given everything away. All the life that this world is teeming with, from top to bottom, most of it, almost all of it, have we foregone. We've like just handed it over. Not just given it away, but allowed them to use all of that as a way to use it against us and to kill us, pumping the innocent animals with poisons and then feeding them to us when they know a lot of that shit causes cancer and everything that we suffer from under the sun here. It's not really random. It's not an accident at all. It's intentional, but furthermore, it's our responsibility. I almost said fault, but it's not. Perspective. Fault, responsibility, same thing. It is our fault. Our people get murked every day by our own government. We're getting murked in taxes. We're getting murked in all these ways. And, fuck me over once, shame on me. Twice? I said that wrong. Fuck me over once, shame on you. All you wicked, evil people and legislators who have succumbed to selling your souls or whatever. But, fuck me over twice in the same way? Oh, that's on me and my whole community. That's on me for not having a voice. That's on me for not becoming a fighter, for not becoming an activist and sharing why this should all be changed. And that's what needs to happen. That's what's happening right now. I am your spark. I am your bonfire of brilliance and beauty and heart, courage, love, wisdom, insight, a connection to the heavens. It's here for you. I'm right here talking. Do you hear it? This doesn't come from the 38 years of watching movies and TV most of that time, although I did gain so much from doing that. But comes from my soul and comes from all the lifetimes that have built up and have accrued inside my spirit and my consciousness. My angels, the angels are here among us. We're not alone. So far from it. And yeah, that's enough on that for now. Let's get back to this book. This amazing piece of wisdom and art at the same time. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than what I feel in these pages. Okay, so we were still on crime and punishment. And how prosecute you him who in action is a deceiver and an oppressor, i.e. our whole corporate rulers, the whole corporate class, industry, government, all politics, everyone that is part of our current leadership, as far as I am concerned, is part of the problem. They're complicit. They're more complicit than everyone else because they know exactly what's involved. And but yeah, we're all responsible. Maybe no more. Maybe one no more than the other. Something to speak on. Okay. So how prosecute you him who in action is a deceiver and an oppressor, yet who is aggrieved and outraged? And how shall you punish those whose remorse is already greater than their misdeeds? Is not remorse the justice which is administered by that very law which you would fain serve? Yet you cannot lay remorse upon the innocent, nor lift it from the heart of the guilty. Unbidden shall it call in the night, that men may wake and gaze upon themselves, and you who would understand justice, how shall you? Unless you look upon all deeds in the fullness of light. Only then shall you know that the erect and the fallen are but one man, standing in twilight between the night of his pygmy self and the day of his God self. We are all one. And that the cornerstone of the temple is not higher than the lowest stone in its foundation. What was it he said? He said, the sage or the priest is no better than the simple innocent man, and vice versa. The criminal is no worse than your simple, average part of yourself. If you can find innocence for yourself, despite the situations that we get into, and we end up being found guilty by our courts, then you can find it for others. And we changed the system. That means we took responsibility, and we're no longer going to punish. We're no longer going to hurt ourselves in the same same way. I was going to say the same unevolved, immature way. Everything grows. Everything keeps growing, except for our society's structure. It's set up in such a way that we're all being choked to death, poisoned to death, abused to death in thousands of different ways. I know you know. Comment if you agree. Show me your support if you agree. If you're of the same understanding and you want to back my ass up as I, the voice of the voiceless, start screaming. It's happening. Alright, next section. Then a lawyer said, "But what of our laws, master?" Oh, this is still kind of with Crime and Punishment. "What of our laws, master?" And he answered, "You delight in laying down laws. You delight in it. Like children playing by the ocean, who build sand towers with constancy and then destroy them with laughter." Oh, what a fucking metaphor. So perfect. But while you build your sand towers, the ocean brings more sand to the shore. And when you destroy them, the ocean laughs with you. Verily, the ocean laughs always with the innocent. But what of those to whom life is not an ocean, and man-made laws are not sand towers, but to whom life is a rock, and the law a chisel with which they would carve it into their own likeness? Exactly. What of the cripple who hates dancers? What of the ox who loves his yoke, and deems the elk and the deer of the forest stray and vagrant things? What of the old serpent who cannot shed his skin anymore, and calls all others naked and shameless? And of him who comes too early to the wedding feast, and when overfed and tired goes his way, saying that all feasts are violation, and all feasters lawbreakers. What shall I say of these, save that they too stand in the sunlight, but with their backs to the sun? They see only their shadows, and their shadows are their laws. And what is the sun to them but a caster of shadows? What is it to acknowledge the laws but to stoop down and trace their shadows upon the earth? But you who walk facing the sun, what images drawn on the earth can hold you? You who travel with the wind, what weather vane shall direct your course? What man's law shall bind you if you break your yoke, but upon no man's prison door? What laws shall you fear if you dance, but stumble against no man's iron chains? That's why I'm in the forest. And who is he that shall bring you to judgment, if you tear off your garment, and yet leave it in no man's path? People of Orphalese, you can muffle the drum, you can loosen the strings of the lyre, but who shall command the skylark not to sing? I want to hear a skylark. All right, master, said one of the people in the crowd. Speak to us now of freedom. Ooh, I can't wait to hear. I've read this before, but I don't remember. I just knew it was all gold, treasure, and enlightenment, an enlightened POV, enlightened perspectives, written with such poignancy and passion. This should be your president, even though he's dead. Hey, it's not too late. Close to not too late, but it's not too late. Speak to us of freedom. And he answered, and the city gate, and by your fireside I have seen you. By your fireside I've seen you prostrate yourself and worship your own freedom. Wow. What does prostrate yourself means? Like to put yourself in a particular position, right? I need to look up I want to know what the exact position that is. It's like laid out or something. I don't know. Maybe on your knees. Okay, so I've seen you prostrate yourselves and worship your own freedom. Oh man, here comes. I have a sense a hammer is coming. Not a hammer, but because he's the most loving. It's the same soul, it's the same spirit. I'm a very compassionate spirit, but not without a sword for a tongue. worshiping your own freedom, even as slaves humble themselves before a tyrant and praise him, though he slays them. I, in the grove of the temple and in the shadow of the citadel, I have seen the freest among you wear their freedom as a yoke and a handcuff. I suppose yoke is a blessing. Because those would be opposites, a blessing and a handcuff. And my heart bled within me. For you can only be free when even the desire of seeking freedom becomes a harness to you. And when you cease to speak of freedom as a goal and a fulfillment. Wow. It's not the end all. You shall be free indeed when your days are not without a care, nor your nights without a want and a grief. But rather, when these things girdle life, and yet you rise above them naked and unbound. And without a want and a grief. These things that girdle us, yet we rise above them, anyways, naked and unbound. Telling you, enlightened. And how shall you rise beyond your days and nights, unless you break the chains, which you, at the dawn of your understanding, have fastened around your noon hour? Wow. I mean, he said it. Let me repeat it. How shall you all, you slaves, loving and praising your slave life half the time, looking for a better slave job, and how shall you rise beyond your days and nights that are stolen from you, unless you break the chains which you, at the dawn of your understanding, have fastened around your noon hour? And we know that the workday is usually like 9 to 5. The noon hour being tied, like being right in the middle of that peak of the day. Let's call it the most valuable hour, if that was a thing. We've tied it up and given it away in some fucked up form of slavery. In truth, that which you call freedom is the strongest of these chains, though its links glitter in the sun and dazzle in your eyes. And what is it but fragments of your own self you would discard, that you may become free? What does he want to be free of so bad? What are you trying to get away from? What part of you are you running from? If it is an unjust law you would abolish, that law was written with your own hand upon your own goddamn forehead. He didn't say goddamn, but he said upon your own forehead. You cannot erase it by burning your laws. You cannot erase it by burning your law books, nor by washing the foreheads of your judges, though you pour the sea upon them. And if it is a despot, you would dethrone. I'll look that up. Despot. Somebody put the definition of despot in the comments, please. It's funny because I have like 40 followers or something like that. 2% of my followers see my, like, people that view my stuff. It's like 98% strangers or like new people or something like that. People in your circle that viewed your stuff, 2%. Okay. And if it is a despot you would dethrone, see first that his throne erected within you is destroyed. For how can a tyrant rule the free and the proud, but for a tyranny in their own freedom and a shame in their own pride? How can a tyrant rule the free and the proud, but for a tyranny in their own freedom and a shame in their own pride? And if it is care you would cast off, that care has been chosen by you rather than imposed upon you. Responsibility, accountability. That's why we need our voices. And if it is fear you would dispel, the seat of that fear is in your heart and not in the hand of the feared. Genius. Absolute genius. This is a person like myself who had integrity. Like, I'm redefining integrity for you right now. Who had full integrity as a human being. What does that mean? He had integrated all of his shadows, all of the rejected pieces of his own self, cast out and judged by mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, friends, family, schools, and every bullshit under the sun when we were little. And for shame did we reject our own pieces, whether that was an amazing piece or not. It's hard to know when you're a child what you think you're destroying within you has any value to begin with. Sometimes it is some of the most valuable parts of a human that move, that though not destroyed, move into that person's own shadow, the shadow self that we all carry, in conflict forevermore, until those pieces are rescued, those parts of the soul are compassionately, unconditionally, lovingly reclaimed with intention and with intention and with joy. The joy that a person knows that they're going to get to have. So much more, as a whole person, rather than just the good parts mom and dad want to see, just the good parts that society wants you to present, or school wants you to pose and prove that you remember. It all needs to come down, folks. All of it. There's a kingdom inside of us that can grow into the heaven that it is. Only then will we create that externally. Only then will we give ourselves permission to release our captors of government, of politics, of industry. release the animals that have been imprisoned, no less than man. More so, but in such quite a similar way. Actually, no, it's more fucked up. It's absolutely more fucked up for animals. And nothing is happening in that regard. In the regard of changing the way we treat all the living things on this planet, our own animals, prime example. No, most people aren't even nowhere near being concerned for cows and chickens and pigs and everything else that goes into your stomachs, gives you a bowel cancer or and serves you. I was gonna say serves you right. That's what I mean. It's just that there are consequences for everything. And doing nothing is a choice. Doing nothing rather than being accountable and taking responsibility for everything that happens in our society, our world, our household, our universe, our inner universe. That's on us, because we can do something about it, motherfuckers. Didn't you know? I'm telling you. It's true. Look at me. Look at who I used to be. I was every one of you. Worse. Not in every situation, but worse in enough. I'm the wisest person here. I'm the most adult being here because I have failed the most. I've allowed myself to be a fuck up and a fool, a fraud, a thief, a coward, and a cuck. And by doing so, I can see now. I've grown. And I am no longer any of those things. But my brothers and sisters, I love you so dearly, so tenderly, and with compassion and understanding, and with a gentle nature to guide you out of hell. The hell that you've accepted you must be, which is not true. I'm here. I am your guide. I am your light, your bonfire in the sky, and in the hills of Texas, San Antonio. I'm right over here by Kennedy's. Kennedy's bar. What a pickle we've allowed ourselves to grow around us. We're in a pickle. We've let a pickle grow around us. And no one's trying. Very few people are trying to get out. Only those like me, which are very far and few in between. All for one and one for all, right? We need everyone to get on the boat, or off the boat, or jump through the portal, whatever metaphor you want to use. Because we are all one, there is no separation between anything and anything else, including God. And it's time you don't just hear that and maybe make a plan to throw that out sometime so you can sound cool or something like that, but Time to let this shit land. Let it sink our battleships. Ooh, that was a good one. Or why do we all need battleships? Again, to war with each other? That doesn't sound wise, does it? We're one human species. We're all the same in a very real way. And yet, let me keep going. We are a family. We are a family, just as any other species is as well. How dare us? How dare us kill each other and blame it, and blame all this killing and war and atrocity on the people above us, who laugh unchecked as we continue to entertain and comfort ourselves to death. Meanwhile, our brothers and sisters are dying in the fields and in the places you don't want to do anything but read about and throw up a prayer. And prayer is wonderful and all, but as they say in Africa, which is one of my favorite wise man sayings, when you fucking pray, move your fucking feet. Okay. When you pray, move your feet. Because what's the point of praying if you don't put a little sweat into whatever it is you're praying about? Give to get. God helps those who help themselves. Which is why I am in the position, spiritually and physically, that I now am in. These are rewards. These are blessings from heaven. Rewards for loyalty, love, and the growth and love that I turned toward myself and God. And I was always much better at loving God than I was loving myself. And I know some of y'all can relate to that. But God wasn't always a two-way street for me. God wasn't always someone I could just go and hug anytime I wanted. It was a one-way connection for a good portion of years when I was young, probably until I was 15. That's when I had. That's when I had, that miracle of miracles. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, there's another video on here called My Kundalini Testimony. But I'm going to make another one of it, because I did that one last year, and I was experiencing winter for the first time. It was my first year being home free, and learning to survive in the best way I could on the streets. And I told my testimony. I knew I needed to start sharing the things that were the catalysts and were the precursors and incredible ingredients that led to transforming my whole inner world, my entire inner world. And it's true. Let me tell you something. It's true what they say. When your inner world changes, when it really changes, and that could be just the way you speak to yourself, the way you softly address your own errors, your own flaws, imperfections, the things you dislike the most about yourself. Just changing that fundamentally because our parents were wrong about negative reinforcement, and that's a simple enough lesson. When your inner world changes, the way I'm going to make clear mine did when I did learn these things and change these things about how I saw, looked, heard, and talked to myself and felt. Yeah, the emotions are big. That's a big one. How we deal with those. When I really changed my inner world, and it happens sometimes instantly. When you were like, this is never again will I berate myself in such a manner. You gotta talk to yourself often to know yourself and to get better at talking to yourself. There was a comma there. When that happens, the external world is different. Is a different one. You come out of your sleep, your meditation, your imaginary portal, which is real, because the mind doesn't know the difference. When you come out of it, after deliberately, intentionally changing what you can see that needs to be changed. Small is good. It doesn't need to be huge. I prefer small things, small changes. The world you come back to is a different one. It's called timeline jumping. And you might as well call yourself kind of a time traveler, a quantum leaper, because that is what is happening. That is literally what's going on. And I'm not even going to break it down for you, though I could a little bit, just to make it make more sense. As we masculine-minded types love to have, we love to have everything make so much. It's got to make so much sense before we embrace it sometimes, or it's got to make so much sense before we even consider making any changes. And sometimes we don't. It makes so much sense, and we still don't make changes. Change is good. Change is life. Change is God. Change is love. Change is change. Change is natural. The only thing that doesn't change is change itself. Oh wait, that everything changes. But does everything? No. Something has to be consistent. Not everything changes. There are some absolutes. And I'm absolutely done with letting everyone, everything, every company and government and political group, or every asshole get away with the irresponsibility and with the irresponsibility of creating this world as it is and doing nothing about it, and then pretending that they weren't a part of that. Just because you are one person, and maybe you've been convinced, as they have tried. There has been so much programming and more that you don't know about to get us to not care and to get us to believe anywhere in ourselves that every little thing, every little person, every child matters and makes a difference in a world, even in a world of 8 billion people. I don't care if it's 50 billion people, 100 billion people, the planet could be that big. Just use your imagination. Do you think if we were 50 billion people on this planet, how would you feel about your one vote then? If we all went into the same election and there was, let's look at it two ways. There are two candidates in a world of 50 billion people, each of them vying to be the leader of, I don't know if the world's free. They call this the free world. This ain't the free world. That's a joke. It's a bad joke. Told by the wicked people that have enslaved us with our consent. Leader of the free world. Isn't that what they call the American president? Yeah, that's the biggest joke of all. We're not free. We may be the most enslaved, but most deluded. The most tricked. The most blindsided. We are the most wasteful country in the world. That's one of the things I learned coming down to the street level. Most wasteful country in the world. And the universe is infinitely abundant, and that includes the world. Absolutely abundant, renewing abundant resources. You've been lied to about there not being enough of things. Not enough water, not enough oil, not enough whatever. There's enough of literally everything. So much as to, if you realize how much that there is, that abundance is real, not scarcity, and it applies to everything, you'd be pissed. You'd be pissed because the whole world is set up on the lie. It's all set up on the false concept, the fallacy, that there's not enough of everything. Therefore, all of you guys need to compete for what's in my pocket. Why is everything y'all want in my pocket? Because you saw me doing it for years and years and decades. You saw me collecting this shit for decades. Didn't say anything then. You're fine with the pizza you're eating. You like the roofs over your head. You like the McDonald's. Well, there you go. That's your reward. I don't care if y'all got cancer and your children get cancer and your best friends and your loved ones all die from the poisons I put in your food and plague you with. Put in your medicines, especially the recent ones, all those COVID ones. So many poisons and things that lead to your demise as people. Y'all, let me be the voice of the wicked for a second. People, hey people, let me tell you something. This world's gonna burn to the ground. We're gonna burn it all the way to the ground. And you're gonna let us. You've been letting us. You're gonna continue letting us. And we're doing it. We've already been doing it. Seen it. You've seen the trends, the directions. Hey, we even told you. We even told you we're doing it in 1,000 ways. Put it in your movies, your music, pretty much spelled it right out for you like you're a retard. And now, I mean, we still have our fingers crossed that you don't realize your solutions are hiding right in front of you. And we hope you don't realize that you have all the power, that we only have power through you. And we hope you don't realize that we have taken only y'all's creative power, y'all's creative energy, and used it, and we've used that to defeat you, to enslave you, and you're still enslaved from that same energy, from yourselves, from your own foolish ideas that, yeah, we gave you in the first place. You didn't have to take them. So what if we shoved them down your mouth? You know, you asked us to make all these TV shows to funnel dopamine and entertainment into your faces. Give people what they want. Well, you got it. Hell on earth, baby. Treasure of motherfucking island. You're Pinocchio. We're all Pinocchio. And you're not real men and women. God bless both of them. God bless you all. God bless all the children who suffer from their parents. Their parents' refusal to diverge from the norm. Parents' refusal to change what their parents didn't change. Refusal to reject what their government says is good for them, but they know it really isn't. It's on every one of us as complicit, evil, ignorant, unconscious, numb, heartbreaking and heartbroken fools who just need to learn these lessons, learn their lessons, face the hard and ugly and difficult parts of all that is, and find the treasure that's awaiting them. Heaven on earth is in the cracks. Heaven on earth is in the spaces and through the doors that you don't see. That are blocked for most of you currently. Not for everyone. Not for me. Not for the people coming with me. But for those who are too stubborn to look up from their porn or their cheeseburger or not their drugs, because drugs are usually sometimes drugs, but usually drugs are supposed to help. They help with pain. That's a whole conversation right there. But yeah, you get the point. Okay. I think I'm gonna stop this here. I am. And then I'll continue with the next part of the book immediately after. Just so we can break this up into more cool shit, more cool pieces that are easier to organize. Nobody wants to sit through something that's 2 hours, like a movie, the length of a movie. And here I am, just like talking shit to you, lecturing you. And I don't care if nobody wants to do that. It's not my responsibility to make you want what's good for you. That's your problem. My mission is to reach the brightest among you, the most hopeful and creative and imaginative and pure of heart, not perfect of hand or perfect of anything, perfect of heart, pure of heart. My pure heart is scarred, is covered in scars of all sorts. It's been carved out a million times. It's perfect in that sense. That it's so strong, it's so huge and full and deep because of all those because of healing all of those wounds and scars and heartbreak after heartbreak. If those wounds weren't healed, they wouldn't be scars. They would just be straight up open wounds, which in you, my friends, my loves, my family, my caretakers of the earth, beginning to step up with me. Those aren't scars, those are open wounds. And they can be healed. I'm a healer, and I have healed. So, I am your proof, if you needed any. And that's not the inspiring part of my story, because it doesn't say, and tell you all about all the fucked up shit that happened to me, all the wounds that got laid on me and stuff. But, stick around. That's coming out real soon. I'm going to post those stories and videos and books coming out. Free from the Blood That Binds. That's my book. Free from the Blood That Binds. And it's synchronized with everything that we've talked about tonight. It's not like free from cheeseburgers and vegans or something like that. It's free from the blood that binds. Free from the family that binds? Well, maybe not all blood. I'm going to say free from all blood everywhere. We need our blood. So some blood is good. But free from the blood, the kind that binds. So it's a specific kind. And that's the metaphor. It is for a specific kind of thing. That maybe in your family, it was in mine. Maybe in your friend group, it was. For me, as it appears, it was my whole family. And for me, with my friend group, it was my whole friend group. They were all drug dealers of weed, All my weed dealers were my associates, my accomplices in fake friendship, in a false friendship that was really just, our friendship was just set up so they could suck the life out of me, just like the people in my family, and wherever else they did it, which these energy vampires, they've been running the world for thousands of years, so, gotta be careful. Humans are not even close to alone. Just so you know, in case you thought you were, or you're like, man, they're gonna release Area 51's information soon, and then we'll know something. What we know, everything you can know, is already here. You don't have to wait for anything. Just start digging with that curiosity of yours. Get inspired. Life is made of miracles and magic and mayhem. But you can use the miracles and the magic to deal with the mayhem. Not if you don't believe, though. Not if you only believe that life is to fucking work every fucking day, giving away all your middays to assholes who don't give a fuck about you and are killing you in all these other ways, who are like part of the very system, the very structure that set itself up to cleave population whenever it feels like, and just lie about, and just covered up with different kinds of lies. Like, that's what they do. They know they can, they have been, and they know they can get away with it, because that's how it goes. When people know they can get away with something, wicked people are allowed to do wicked things. They know they can get away with it. They don't stop doing it. They lean into it. See how far they can go. And look how far it has gone. We look at the pickle, how big, look how deep inside the pickle we are now. We're at the deepest point of the pickle we might have ever been. Well, I can think of one part of the pickle that's deeper. And it's what happened to the last humanity that was on this planet. You might know these times as the Atlantean times. This was us. This was our humanity, the fifth, before our own. And they fell for it. They were right here where we are, in this pickle that was going to go one way or another. They were going to continue to grow spiritually, as that was what was left to grow, you know. That was where they needed to grow, as opposed to technologically, because they had the nukes. They had all the ways to kill themselves very easily. And just like a potential for our planet, they succumbed to their fear of each other. They were tricked by the principalities that feed their children, their demon children, with our life force, our human soul-connected life forces, those connected to God. This group, this may be the blood that binds, that I'm referring to right here. This power and principality, the one that uses us as food, is certainly the blood that binds. And we don't have to go out like the Atlanteans did in their time, succumbing to fear and hitting those buttons out of. It must have been terror to do that. They must have been deceived into a state of terror at some point. Lied. Yeah, deception is extremely powerful when no one asks any questions. Did you hear that? Deception is all powerful. It's the ruler of any room. It's the ruler of every world. Whose actions and statements go unchecked, and us and go and are just regarded as automatic truth or fact or that's final. That, you know, they control the world, they said it, it's final. No, challenge everything. Ask why about everything. Bring out your inner child again. Let your inner child exist in its curiosity and its passion. That every person has a passion, a purpose in life, and it is, as a matter of fact, what your inner child was and was always and still is the most impassioned about. That you may or may not remember. You might have to cuddle up with your inner child. Start doing that every day, and show honor to that part of yourself. That part of all of us, because when you honor your inner child, you honor all of our inner children. Fact. When you don't honor that inner child, you honor none of us. None of your so-called loved friends and family. If you love them, then love yourself first. Take that step first and see what that even, so you can know how to even do that. Maybe then you will be able to then love who you choose, and intentionally, not because there's toxic as your mom or dad, and that's familiar hell. That's gonna keep the fucking drama rocking for years to come. Hell yeah, baby. 20 years here up top. That's how much I learned about that. How much I went through that for to learn my lesson on that subject. I love each and every one of you, and the angels that surround you, the spirits of animal and far off places that you have known and know in the unseen world and from other lifetimes, other worlds. I love all aspects of life. I even have a pretty special relationship. Let me rephrase that. I even have a healthy relationship, a functional relationship with all that is evil in existence. Because I asked, what if? Why not? Why not possibly? What if? What if we don't have to demonize so many things in the world and put them on crosses, nailing them to it, claiming that, ranting about the bad things that they had done and how they deserved. They deserve disintegration or 1,000 lashes. If we are all one, and we are, then when you lash your brother, no matter whether it's someone who you don't like or not, maybe especially then, when you lash the brother you don't like, the sister, the freak, the scum homeless person, the disgusting rich person, the wicked political Trump person, that's not fair. They're all kind of things. Trump's just one of them, you know. Sorry to pop your bubble, but when we burn them at the stake. We burn a part of our own self. Because it's all one. Get it? So judge not, for you shall then be judged by your own mind, since you were judging yourself when you were judging them, literally. You just didn't know that was you. That was a literal part of you. It is. This is how consciousness works. God's magic and miracles. Amen, hallelujah, pass the gun sauce. Gun sauce? That's not a thing. Guys, I hope you start seeing more of me. I hope I start seeing more of you in the right context. And, we've got some amazing opportunities for Earth, for Gaia. Within reach, and you bet your ass I'm gonna be as big of a part of that as I can be. Since I've got this monkey paw God gave me, and this leprechaun over here, all my wishes are coming true. Not sorry. Hey, well, anyways, yeah. Go watch some TV, do what you do, whatever. But come back to me. Come back to me, as you know you should, to know more, to grow more, and to move, to quantum leap, to switch dimensions into the one that is yours, my highest timeline, all of our highest timeline. You want to see the best of us, not the worst of us. And that's within reason. Miraculous things, miracles, magic. Those are within reason. Those things exist within reason. And nothing is evil or good in and of itself. It's necessarily... Many things are just neutral. They are evil or good by how they're used. So be careful how you place things in those categories, because you might be doing the same thing with things that you did with your shadow, and calling and rejecting incredibly good and beautiful things that are not evil. You could be calling really things that should be released good. You know what I mean? You could have them backwards in a lot of ways. And we do. It is true that is the situation. Anyways, how many times am I going to do this anyways?